book lovers, it's Jenny at Julia Baby Jen with my favorite sci-fi reads of 2016. I have a pretty decent list here today. Sci-fi is one of my favorite genres and I read a lot of it. And it's hard for me to narrow it down, but I did find some favorites here. First I have Replica by Lauren Oliver. This was a really interesting read. I've never read one exactly like this before, and it was really kind of cool. So basically it's the same story, but it's told from two points of view. We have Lyra and Gemma. I guess I have the dust jacket on there wrong. I took the dust jacket off and put it back on wrong, but apparently. But so you read from this side of the book, you would get Lyra's perspective. If you flip it over and read from this side of the book, you get Gemma, and so obviously they both end in the middle. So you can read it however you want to, and I just went ahead and read a chapter from one perspective and then flipped over and read the chapter from the next perspective, and that was kind of fun actually. So basically it follows these two girls. There's an institution called the Haven Institute, and that's where Lyra lives, and basically it's basically they've created cloning is what it's about. So Lyra is basically a clone and she lives in this institute. And then Gemma doesn't really know anything about this institute. She lives a normal life, well, as normal as can be, because she has heart complications and she has all kinds of health issues. But she's otherwise a pretty normal teenager, although her parents are very overprotective of her. She starts to hear about this Haven Institute and that her dad might have something to do with it. And so she runs away from home to investigate, and it goes from there. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and they do kind of meet up eventually, Lyra and Gemma. It's a really interesting story. I just really liked it. I was turning pages like crazy. The whole idea of cloning is interesting, so yeah, it was really cool, and learning more and more about the mysteries. So yeah, this was a fun read. The Delphi Effect by Risa Walker. I do have a signed copy of this book from Risa, and I cannot find it. I think it ended up in my book tree somewhere, but I couldn't find it in there either. But it's got to be around here. But anyway, so The Delphi Effect by Risa Walker. This is about a girl named Anna who has the ability to talk to ghosts and see ghosts. And she ends up with all of them following her, trying to solve their mysteries. So this particular story is about a girl who was murdered, and she would like Anna to help the murdered girl's grandfather find the killer, because the grandfather is a cop. So she meets with this cop, and it all kind of goes from there. It involves government conspiracies and all kinds of stuff. So it's an amazing adventure, an amazing ride. It has a great paranormal aspect to it. Oh, I really, really loved this read. The Martian by Andy Weir. I loved this book so much. I know a lot of people have read it, but just in case you haven't, it's about a guy named Mark Watney who is stranded on Mars. He went on to a mission to Mars with his crew. They had to evacuate an emergency evac, and he got left behind. They all thought he was dead, and he's not. So he's stuck on Mars and trying to survive, and he has to survive for 2 years until the next mission comes back to Mars. And the other thing is that NASA or Earth has no idea that he's still alive. They think he's dead. So it's an amazing story. It's a series of journal entries. He's entering into his journal that he has on his space station there on Mars, and we get to hear all his thoughts. He's a funny guy, smart guy. It's just an amazing adventure. Really loved this book. The 1000th Floor by Katharine McGee. Now this could have fallen on a lot of different genres. I mean, it has a mystery and suspense element. It has a contemporary vibe to it as well, because it's about these rich kids. But I stuck it under sci-fi because it's a futuristic world and the technology is a big forefront of the book. So, and that was my favorite part of it. So that's why I threw this into sci-fi. So this book takes place in a future America in New York City. There's this tower that's been built. It's 1,000 floors tall. It's huge, obviously. It's like its own little city, basically, and it's built over what used to be Central Park. We follow five different teen characters, and it involves this mystery. All we know is it starts with the prologue, and there's been a girl who has fallen off the edge of the tower and died. We don't know anything other than that. So then it flips back in time and leads up to the events of that night. So we can discover. So we're left with wondering who the victim is. How did she, was she murdered? So who was the murderer, and how did it all come about? So this follows these 5 characters. It's an amazing ride. None of these characters are really good characters. They all have secrets and things to hide, but you kind of fall in love with all of them anyway because they're so interesting, and the whole premise is really, really cool. It kind of was a cross between Pretty Little Liars and 90210 with a big futuristic sci-fi vibe. And I just really loved this book. It was one of the best one of the best debut books I've ever read from an author. This is her first book, and it was really good. Rule of Mirrors by Kara M. O'Brien. Really good book. This is the sequel to The Vault of Dreamers, and this is a trilogy, and it's really good. So it starts off with this girl named Althea Flores, and she wakes up in this institute with no memories of herself, but she has all kinds of memories of herself as Rosie Sinclair, who is a missing participant on the Ford show. Basically, the first book follows a reality TV show of kids that are artistically gifted. They're on this show 24/7, and people vote on who's their favorite. It's kind of a fun show, but they're at basically this school where it's being videotaped, and Rosie's picked and gone there, but she soon discovers there's sinister things happening at night in the school and on the Ford show, and it's all about that mystery. So this continues on where this one left off, and I can't tell you a lot more than that without giving away everything, but basically, so this follows a girl named Althea who looks nothing like Rosie Sinclair but has all her memories. So really interesting book. It kind of flips your brain and makes you think a little bit. I just love this series. And finally, I have Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and this was my favorite sci-fi read of the year. Honestly, this is one of my very favorite reads of the year. I really, really loved this book. It takes place in the future, obviously, on a space station, and it follows our 2 protagonists, Hannah and Nick. Hannah is the captain's daughter of the space station, and she's rich and privileged and pretty much gets whatever she wants. She's also very artistic. Nick belongs to a mobster family and is on the ship. I don't remember why he's at the space station, actually, but he's there. In the meantime, they are kind of not friendly with each other at all, but he secures her some drugs that she wants to purchase to go to this party. And they're in the midst of meeting, and during this, when the space station is taken over by terrorists who are hijacking it because there's a wormhole in the space station that opens up to all the different parts of the universe, and so you can travel there quickly, and it's mind-blowing. But the wormhole is under maintenance, so they're messing around with this wormhole. They're taking over the space station, and there's these alien creatures that are hatching in the ship as well, or in the station as well. So it's an amazing ride, an amazing adventure. It's just so much more than that. The best thing about this series is how it is written. It's all written in different files and pages. It's basically, after the events have happened, there's an investigation into this company that's responsible for all this mayhem. And so this is all the files they've compiled to try to get to the bottom of what really happened. So we're reading all these files to discover what really happened, but it turns into a really great story, and it's just amazing. I liked it even better than Illuminae, and if you haven't started this series and read Illuminae yet, oh my gosh, you are so missing out. This is one of the best series ever in YA, and you definitely need to read it. So those are my favorite sci-fi reads of 2016. Let me know below in the comments what your favorite sci-fi reads are, or if you want to talk about any of these books, I'd love to do that as well. I hope everyone has a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.